of the Listening Detective TV show where we're talking about confidence online. And apparently these guys know something about it. So welcome, Chris and Paul.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Paul's going no and Chris is
No.
So we'll find out a little bit more about you and your businesses and your top tips for being confident online. But this season's all about the word confidence. So I haven't decided who's going to go first, but what's your take on confidence? What does it mean to you?
Who do you want to go first? Because I would never want to talk over Chris.
I'll go first then, because I'm confident. Confidence is, for me, when you approach me about this, obviously I had a good think about why you've chosen me and why we're speaking about confidence today. And I think it's really tied to belief. Belief breeds confidence. Confidence breeds belief, and the two are really interlinked. So the work that I do actively with my coaching and etc. is purely on my mindset and the messages that I tell myself. So I've gone through a process of in essence, reprogramming my brain of the messages that I tell myself. And I think that the main thing that I've really done that's led to my confidence levels is to quote my coach is I'm now playing my own game. In the fact that I'm playing my own game and creating my own set of rules, I can't lose. Mm-hmm. There is no failure. So my confidence and belief is naturally at a different level.
Yeah.
Because it can't go down there because it's my game, so I've won.
Yeah, definitely.
And that internal message, that it never erodes. And I've learned to create natural triggers for myself to get myself, if I dip, because we're all human, that I have a set of triggers through music, through actions, that automatically takes my belief and therefore my confidence back up. Prior to this podcast, this StreamYard recording, I've had my Spotify on and I've played 3 sets of songs because it's a trigger. So my confidence and my belief is back optimal before I've come and had this conversation with you today.
Fab. It's reminding me actually because I've got a self-belief playlist and I'll pump that out and go for a walk when I've got to do something and just get myself back into that mindset. So for you it's about belief, and you've actually consciously reprogrammed your thoughts, and you've got some proactive triggers like music that get you there. And Paul doesn't want to talk over you, so we could carry on talking and wait to see whether he gets a word in, or we could ask Paul, confidence for you is like what?
But do you know what? I'm sat with 2 of my favourite speakers. I would happily just sit here and listen. And what Chris said is spot on. Actually, you're there. What Chris said is spot on. What he's actually talked about there is something that I called anchors. He's created anchors that give him that boost of confidence whenever he needs it. Now, I do exactly that, mate. I've got a couple of anchors. One is pushing that thumb and that middle finger together. Another one is that thumb and that middle finger. They do different things. Another one is I raise my heels before I walk on stage. I raise my heels, drop myself back down, and it boosts me before I walk out on stage, and I need to become showman poorly. And it's amazing. I still use those anchors now. But my view on confidence is it's not something that can be given to you. It's not something you can learn. It's horribly something that slowly gets taken away from us. So through your school life, through when you were a kid, if you got told you were rubbish at that, you can't do this, you're not very intelligent with that, you can't go in front of a crowd, you can't talk to all those people, you start to believe what those other people are telling you. The horrible fact is, you're already really good at this stuff, but you've lost belief because it's slowly taken away from you. So actually, when somebody comes to me with confidence issues, I kind of had to point out to them that you already had this. We've just got to figure out what barriers you've put up in front of yourself. That's how I look at confidence. Now, I also horribly think, what's the worst that can happen in most situations? Now, I've got buddies that are stuntmen, okay? So the worst that can happen to them when they're on their daily work life is some hideous things. But they're experts in what they do. They plan it all out. They use science. They use technology. They've got teams around them that their 100% job is to make sure that they come out of this looking perfect. So actually their confidence is in the team and their own knowledge. So when one of my mates jumps off of a train that's doing 60 mile an hour, that's an easy job for him. He looks at that and goes, it's nothing. I'd look at that and go, no, nope, not happening. I'm not doing that. That would be stupid. But we're all confident in different ways. And I honestly, if it's one takeaway from this for your listeners, I think you've already got confidence. You've just got to find out what barrier you put up in the way. And if you need help with that, funnily enough, Cheryl's really good at helping people with that.
Well, and it is interesting about you say that you've put up, because it is that fact that we've listened to something, we've made an interpretation of it, and then we all put protection mechanisms in to prevent us getting hurt again. And so before we know it, we restrict ourselves, and we're limited to who we can talk to, how we can talk, where we can talk, be, do, have, whatever that might be.
And weirdly, most of those negative reinforcements have come from a place of love. Okay, so if you've got an uncle or an aunt that tried to run a business and it failed, and therefore all they've ever told you is don't start your own business, it will fail, they're doing that because they're trying to protect you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it's not always true.
Yeah, I think something that you really sort of sprung up with what you were saying now, Paul, was we are born ready. We are absolutely ready. We are in absolutely peak condition to achieve everything. So when I look at, talking about my personal confidence, so when I was young, early teens, my confidence was sky high. So I won drama awards, poetry awards. I won loads of stuff for being a showman, being on stage. I did all that. I was invited to work with the Royal Shakespeare Company, like unbelievable, like great stuff. But something happened. The external voices got the better of me. Those messages told me it's not possible. You can't do that. That's not right. So I went completely the other way. I lost it. My confidence was gone. My confidence and belief was gone in my teenage years up to early adulthood. And it's only in the past few years, which might be a shock to some people, that it's come back.
Yeah.
And because of that rewiring that I've spoke about, that's how I've got my confidence back in choosing my messengers of information, disqualifying certain messages that I've been told historically in my life, not like Paul says, not through not loving me or anything like that or wishing me ill will, just not right for me and in my best interests ultimately. So when I choose what information goes in, that's when we get the right results for our life.
Yeah. And knowing you can make that choice, that's massive, mate. Absolutely. That is massive.
And I think that's the bit that's often outside people's awareness, isn't it? That it's a choice. Because at the time when you haven't got access to the memory or the evidence or the proof that you are okay, that you're good enough, all that sort of stuff, it can be hard to think that there's anything left inside you. And there's a really random example, but you've reminded me, Chris, when you were saying this. A couple of months ago, I decided I was going to start crocheting. And I was really naff at it. I was on YouTube. And then I remembered that I actually crocheted a blanket for my daughter when she's 25 now. And I'd forgotten. I thought, so there was a part of me going, well, you must have been able to do it once, and you didn't have a teacher then, and you didn't have YouTube. So, get over yourself. And obviously I just found a few more YouTube channels. But it's that bit where you go, and I have my song is Working My Way Back to You, because at 23 I backpacked around America on my own with no mobile phone. I didn't have a fear of travelling. Now I'm a bit like, ooh, I'm not sure about going on my own, or not. Who can I contact? And I have to hold on to that I had that ability then, so that's still got to be with me, and I'm always working even now to keep holding on to that energy, that person that didn't have that fear, that could go out there and do things. So Chris, you've talked about a time when you've lost it in your teens, where it's sort of external voices, maybe coming from a place of wanting to protect you, don't want you to make a fool of yourself, those kinds of things that loving parents can say inadvertently, then make you more conscious of yourself rather than actually just going out there and having a go. Can you think of a time, Paul, have you always been confident, or is there a time when you've had your confidence?
No, I was. If you met me when school life, if you met me when I was in junior school, when I was a little kid, I'd hide behind my mum. in almost any social situation. In junior school, I had my close friends, and I didn't want to talk to anyone else. If a teacher even suggested about me having a speaking part in a show, my God, I would have left that school. I'd have been at home. I'd have been sick for weeks. Any excuse to get out of it. Teenage life. This is bad. Maybe I shouldn't admit this bit, but I only got into entertainment because I was partially drunk at 16 years old, and an ex-girlfriend pulled me into a youth theatre group. And while I'd had a couple of drinks and I shouldn't have been in that sort of state, I didn't look hammered, I didn't look wrong at all. The director of this youth theatre group, he went, "Oh, I've got a part that would suit you down to the ground. Can you sing?" And I went, "Yeah, I suppose so." And he went, "Can you dance?" And I went, "No chance, but I'll learn." And he went, "Can you act?" And I went, "Yeah, of course I can." He got me to audition there and then. And because of the couple of ciders that I had as a teenager, the inhibition wasn't there. The panic wasn't there. The worry wasn't there. I got up on stage in front of, and this was a lot of girls that I didn't know, because back then, a guy going into drama, that just wasn't heard of. I got on stage, sung the song and acted a bit, and he went, "Brilliant, you've got the main part." Okay. And then when I was sober, I then started thinking, what am I doing? And weirdly, myself and that girlfriend didn't last very long. I stayed in entertainment because there was loads of lovely ladies there and not many straight men. So how bad is that as a way of starting a career? How ridiculous is that I started in entertainment because I'd had a couple of ciders and I literally got pushed on stage by this director that didn't know me. Yeah. But as a young teenager, I'd never have done that. Yeah. I then realised that I had something I could do on stage. And I've loved it ever since.
It's a great example, isn't it, of sort of like timing the things. But it also reminds me about, you're saying about anchors, and you talked about reprogramming. That we, in the very first episode, we talked about confidence isn't a feeling. People often think that you're going to feel really good when you're confident, but actually I just want to check in with you guys. I still do stuff that I feel scared about. I have my stomach flipping. I still feel nervous. The confidence for me is I'm okay to get through the uncomfortable bit because I know what's going to come the other side. So it's
incredibly healthy. You've got to feel the fear all the time. Never lose that. That is the important bit. That's what makes the difference. That's part of it. The day you haven't got fear, you've got a problem. You've got a massive problem on your hands. I love fear. I've learned to love fear. I love that. You know, I'm a bit nervous about coming out here before. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? How am I going to come across? Paul, on your podcast. Well, of course I was nervous. And you know, anything that we do, there's a fear attachment of it. The difference is being able to accept the consequences of those. What's the worst that could happen? What? I'll make a bit of a dick of myself today on it. Who cares in the grand scheme of it? What's the worst? And it's accepting consequences and that fear factor. And that's often the difference. Being able to take those little steps. Life's not about giant leaps. It's about small steps forward. In your belief and your confidence and being able to accept those consequences. Because once you've took a little step forward, well, do you know what? That's your base level. You can do it again and again and again and again until you hit that level. And everything moves along in parallel, but you must feel the fear and learn to love it every single time.
And actually, do you know what?
Go on, Craig.
Whenever I've gone on stage and I'm doing tricks, I'm doing mind-reading stuff, there's a lot of kit around me. There's a lot of things that I need to be ready, and they need to be 100% spot on. And I think if I ever got complacent with that, if I ever got too relaxed that it's all going to work, I'm not going to set that up right, and something will go wrong. Now, one of my closest buddies is a really good mate. I won't say very well. He works in a military organisation, and if he gets called out to a job, there is gunfire involved. Okay. Now, the weird thing is, I could never do his job. Right? Just thinking about walking into a situation where somebody might try and point a gun at me, no, not happening. No, no thanks. Whereas he looks at what I do and he goes, I could never get on stage and talk in front of all those people. I'm like, compared to what you're up to, this is easy. But yeah, his confidence is very different to mine because of the situations we've got used to.
It comes back to what Chris was saying a bit, isn't it? About play your own game, and decide your own rules, and it is knowing your area of expertise. And just hearing you guys talking about it that way, I think it's also remembering that whatever your thing is that you're great at, it will annoy somebody. So somebody will have some detrimental thing to say, or they'll have a worry for you or a concern for you because of their fears. So I'm a natural talker, trained listener. And so I've been taught for years, talk too much, talk too fast, all that sort of stuff. But there's equally as many introverts who love it that I fill up the space and give them processing time. And it took me a long time to work out actually how much talking is enough for me. And actually it is beneficial for me to shut up and listen, because I get to hear lovely things like listening to you guys. But you have to be able to measure it, don't you, in context of what game you want to play, where you're going. Which kind of brings us on to the game you two are playing. So tell us a little bit about your business. We'll start with Chris. A little bit about your business, what you do, and 3 tips to have confidence online.
Okay, so I own Scruffy Monkey. Well, I'm the co-founder. I shouldn't say I own it because I run it with my wife, the brains of the operation. And so Scruffy Monkey Web Design, we are a web design business based in Bolton with over 180 plus clients throughout the UK. So we build websites and we maintain them. So we have one-man bands through to multi-million pound turnover organisations, all lovely shapes and sizes. And I guess what I'm known for now as well, because of my confidence and belief, I also get booked now as a speaker. And it's mainly about motivation and being yourself. So I'm on a really interesting journey with that at the moment, as we kind of spoke about before. My 3 tips for online. Wow, these are interesting. So this is off the cuff. Opinions are just that. Opinions are based on other people's experiences and their own alone. It doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't mean they're wrong. They are just opinions. So I can count the people that I listen to. There's 4 people I listen to in my life. It's no disrespect to other people. I'm just listening to your information. It doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily take it on board and use it. So my tongue is very. Other ones, online, it's fun. It's a game. The whole thing is fun. You should be having fun online. I can play this thing like it's a game. I am, honestly, I post absolutely. You look at my wall, go and have a look at it. It's pictures of my dog. It's pictures of my daughter doing stupid stuff. It's pictures of me doing stupid stuff. It's just absolute nonsense. Because it feeds me. It feeds me because it's fun and it uplifts me. So, if you want serious stuff, you're going on the wrong wall, trust me. Right? You ain't going to get serious philosophical stuff from me, because that doesn't help anybody, and it certainly doesn't help me.
Of course, that's just his opinion, and you don't have to listen to it.
That's true. I thought you just hit smarty pants.
If he's not one of your 4, you can just filter it.
But here's something that's actually happening behind the scenes at the moment that'll share with you. I think social media is an absolute load of crap. It's an absolute load of nonsense, and it's just a complete and utter hassle for your business. The truth, I will get more business through my personal social media and posting fun and enjoying myself and just saying what's on my mind and just embracing life than my business page will ever do. And that's my confidence and belief coming out in my life. Confidence sells, belief sells, passion sells, and that's something that I think we all need to learn. And just it's a very serious time, we should start fun.
Have some fun. Now, I have to say, I was listening intently, and I'm going to blame the microphone dropping out.
Right.
I got opinions, and I've got fun online, but I didn't quite hear when we switched from 2 to 3. So what were they? Can you just give us a quick?
Oh Christ, what was it? I forgot now. I've said it.
You look like you were reading off some notes, so I thought you were being very studious. Okay, well,
opinions are just that, fun and belief and just understanding that. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what the other one was.
But you know what? Here's a really good example, though, of confidence, isn't it, Chris? This people online.
Yeah.
I've seen it all the time where they won't put a video out because they've got to edit it and it's got to be perfect. Just so you know, guys, none of this gets edited. It just gets topped and tailed with intros. It goes out raw as it is, because this is about being human. Most of us, when we're having a conversation with another human being, how many times, and I've done this exactly what, you say something really gorgeous and then someone hasn't caught it because they've been listening to the other gorgeousness and their brain hasn't caught up with it, and they get you to repeat it and you go, I have no idea what I just said.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a confidence thing as well, in the fact that I don't feel the need to prepare anything anymore. All right? Because what you see is what you get. That's it. So I haven't done loads of research and I'm going to say this, that sounds smart and clever. No. Because I'm me. And that's it. You know, a great taking from my youth, if there was any, was a spade is a spade. And what that means is you are what you are. All right? Yeah. And that is powerful in embracing who you are. All the negatives and the positives, because we all have positives and we all have negatives. That just forms who it is. Yeah. So, do you know what? I forgot what I said. People will listen to it and they'll think it's fabulous, I'm sure, so I'm done.
Yeah, and if not, that's okay too, isn't it? That's the whole point of this thing, is that we're going to have a number of people talking about confidence from their map of the world, and people will listen and bits will resonate and bits won't, and you take away the nuggets that are valuable to you, but you don't carry around the, I can't do that and I'm not as good as the other person, because that isn't going to serve you. Listen, take what's useful, ditch the rest. It's okay, you don't have to. So, and we had a joke at the beginning whether I could keep these guys to 20 to 25 minutes. And I know that Paul's got to tell us his 3 top tips. So we may run over just a smidge, because I would like them to think they're right. Because I know that can help build confidence too. So Paul,
she's good to us, Chris. She's so good to us.
Tell us a little about you and your business, Paul, and then your 3 tips for online.
Do you know what? Something I want to touch on about what Chris said is, by being himself online, he's going to attract the audience that like that. And the people that don't like that are not his audience. And we're fine with that. You know, we can live with that. That's absolutely fine and better for him as a business person anyway. Right, my 3 things, and I obviously just made these up while Chris was talking. So cheers, bud. Thank you for taking a few minutes. That was awesome.
Can you tell us what you do first, Paul? Anybody actually wants to...
Right, what I do, I'm Paul Newton of Mentaltheft. I'm a magician, a mind reader, and I specialise in stealing stuff. So I nick usernames, I nick passwords, I nick PIN numbers. I do it while I'm on stage or while I'm on a Zoom call to scare the bejesus out of people. Now, if I scare you in a productive way, you will take your security seriously and you'll actually look after your information. Because think about it. If I can steal your stuff while I'm warning you I'm going to do it, what can a scammer do when they're not warning you? Okay, if I can honestly nick your username and your password, I can actually be within your systems and you wouldn't even know I'm there. Now that's what a scammer does. Okay, they're in your systems, they're nicking from you, and you have no idea they've even started. So I wrote a book about it. I do have a book over there to show off at some point.
I'm looking at mine. It's on the floor. I can dip down and look up very.
So I'll do that. There you go. There's the book. Bit of promo. I love that Cheryl's got one there as well. Thank you so much. Right, my 3 top tips. Number 1, don't think too much. Okay, with myself, I think I'm fairly intelligent. And if I start thinking too much about the situation that I'm walking myself into, it turns into this spiral of, what if this, what if that, what about this, oh my God, and then it turns into, I'm losing confidence. I don't think too much. I check my kit, I make sure I'm good, I check the microphone works, I'm on. Okay? If you think too much, it can start unraveling in your own head before you even start. Number 2, prepare in a way that's good for you. Now, I'm really careful on this because I've got buddies who are brilliant entertainers and they need to script every single word they say because that's how they prepare. To them, that's normal. You've both seen me do shows. My preparation for my show is normally an A5 bit of paper that I've scribbled a couple of bullet points on before I walked on stage. Because for me, I know the stories inside out already. I don't need a massive script. I'm just going to hit a load of those things that I think are good for that audience. And if while I'm talking to the audience, I think actually they won't care about that scam I ran on that corporation, I ditch it while I'm on stage. So I bullet point, I almost build with Lego from the stories I have and the tricks that I've got, and I'm fully prepared that way. A lot of other people could not work that way. They need full-on script. So prepare in a way that's good for you. And my last thing, and it's the horrible question, especially if you're my buddy who's going into an armed situation, I always say to myself, really, what's the worst that can happen? I'm on stage in front of 1,500 people and a trick goes wrong. I'll laugh at it and carry on. And I'm on this with you guys and my mic goes wrong. You two make a joke of it and hopefully kick me out and you carry on doing an awesome show. The reality is the stuff I'm doing is not life or death. Okay, if it was, I'd have a different attitude. But the reality is I'm a bald bloke who wears a trilby and I walk on stage. What's really going to happen that is that bad that it should make me scared? The answer is nothing. Okay, now thankfully I normally have audiences that already know what I do and they are there because they want to see me do what I do. So I normally walk out to nice audiences anyway. So make sure you're good at what you do. What's the worst that can happen? Go and enjoy yourself.
It's really interesting, and thank you so much for you guys. I knew you'd be great people to have on, and like the last time because I didn't say how we met, I was listening to Paul Newton's Newton Nuggets, which Chris was being interviewed about an hour before me, and it was something you said that had me going, and I'm not going to think about it too much, but I have been thinking about this, be yourself, and a spade's a spade, and I think for me, my journey's I've had to work out who I am beyond what other people have defined me as, and that's taken me probably since becoming a parent. I think becoming a parent, you lose a bit of your identity because you're here, and then I was a business person and a wife, and it's like it does take me a while. So I'm listening to Chris's thing, and this, and what's the worst that could happen? In my head, it's like 1,500 people wouldn't like me. Now that doesn't have the impact it has on today that it did 10 years ago, but that did feel life-threatening in emotional sense, the thoughts of the impact that could have. So I just want to leave you with that these are great tips, and as we've already said, play your own game, play your own rules, and remember they're just opinions. So you're the one that's got to listen to yourself. You've got to decide what works for you, and you've got to play, as I'll take Chris's thing, play your own game, play it by your own rules. So thank you so much, guys, for being with me today. We'll pop all the links to get hold of these people. If you want some fun social, go and see Chris and Paul, and don't come and see me because I'm quite serious and philosophical, but I think I'm going to do some fun stuff now. I'm going to have a play and see how many people don't like me. That'll be fine, won't it? We can have that game. As long as I like me, that's fine, isn't it? Thanks ever so much. See you soon.